Hello, you're welcome to the Women's Skills Hub YouTube channel, and in today's video I'm going to be showing you how to make use of your measuring cups, your measuring spoon, and your scale. Okay, so without wasting time, let's get started into the main video of the day. So what are the tools that I need to use? Like I've said before, we're learning how to use measuring cups. Okay, and the measuring cups comes in, mine come in this 5 sets. Okay, we have here 1 cup, half cup, half cup, 1/3 cup, 1/4 cup, and 1/8 cup. Okay, so how do you measure your dry ingredients using your measuring cup? So the first thing you want to do is, first off, try to flush out your flour. Doing this will help to release to make your flour light, so that by the time you are now packing it inside, it's not thick. Okay, if you just pack it like this, it's going to be heavy. Your flour is going to be heavy, and you're not going to get the result you should get. It's going to be packing too much flour in it, and also be increasing the weight in your cup, especially if you are trying to use, maybe you don't have a scale and you're trying to use a measuring cup as an alternative to a scale. So if you measure like this, you end up getting wrong measurement. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do, try to flush. Okay, and you need to know the difference between these two. Okay, if your recipe calls for heap flour, there's a different way you measure your flour. If it says heap cup, okay, and if it says level cup. So let me show you how to do both. Okay, flush out. This right here is heap measurement. Okay, if the recipe calls for heap cup measurement, this is what you need. So if it says level, so you are going to use either your palette knife, your regular knife, your spoon, or even this your measuring spoon to level it. Okay, just watch me. Can you see that? Level. You're using your palette knife. You see, and you have your leveled cup of flour. All right, I hope that is clear. So you want to measure your tablespoon. But in case if you have to measure your baking powder are usually very light. Okay, so you don't need to be using your this thing. So just insert straight up, and then use your spoon to level it. And then you have your 1 tablespoon. This is 1 tablespoon. Okay, I didn't introduce my spoons. These are my measuring spoons, and I think I have 6 here. Okay, so I have here 1 tablespoon, half tablespoon, I have 1 teaspoon, I have half teaspoon, I have 1/4 teaspoon, and I have my 1/8 teaspoon. Last week I believe I talked about these spoons already, and I showed you how to divide them. Okay, I talk about how you can get 1/4 TBSP if your recipe requests for it. So I won't be diving into that already. If you haven't seen it, I'll be attaching the link to the previous video where I talked about it. All right. So we've sorted this. The next thing is how to use our measuring scale. So this is a digital scale. We have two types of scale. We have the analog scale, and the digital scale. The analog scale is the type that you see in the market where all these frozen food vendor uses. Okay, where you have the strings on the screen. And you see the screen when you weigh anything. The string will go around, and start have to read the string to know the amount of item that is being placed on the scale. But for digital scale, everything is digitalized. You just have to read your screen to see what you have on it. So if you want to turn it on, you can see and my screen is showing 0. So you can see that my screen is showing 0. So when you are measuring with a digital scale or analog scale, whatever scale you want to use, ensure that first thing first, the barrier that you are going to be using to measure your ingredients, okay, is placed on it and then it's reading 0. Okay, let me turn it off now and show you and explain better what I mean. So this is my scale. I have turned it on. Okay, the moment you place something on it, you see that it starts to read another thing. So you want to first of all turn it to 0. Ensure that it's on 0 before you start weighing anything, because if you don't do so, you're going to be measuring the weight of your bowl, okay, alongside your ingredients. So you'll be confused, you won't be able to get the right amount of ingredients you're trying to weigh. Okay, so you want to make sure that it's on 0 first, whether you're using the analog or the digital scale. So you go, so let's say I'm trying to get 300 grams. Okay, I have my scale on 0. Take note of that. So, and I need 300 grams. You don't have to flush out here because the scale is going to tell you the actual weight that you have. So I need 300. So now can you see we have our 300 gram, easy peasy. So I prefer um digital scale to analog scale, because if you're using analog scale, there are some cases whereby you might skip a line, and in the end of the day it might end up affecting your recipe. So if you have a digital scale, it's going to show you exactly what you have, exactly what you need on the screen. All right, so that's that about measuring. Okay, so the next thing is using our measuring cup to measure wet ingredients. What are your wet ingredients? Your wet ingredients could be in form of your milk, your water, your vegetable oil, your um, fat, basically, etc. So how do you go about measuring? So here I have my cup. I'm going to use, I'm already messed up this one. So I have my cup here. Just fill it. And then you can see you have your cup. Okay, half cup. Now another kind of cup you can use is this. Was I can't really remember the name, but uh I can't remember the name actually, but we have it in the glass. Okay, you have the measuring cup in glass and we have this plastic one. I prefer the plastic one because sometimes I can be very clumsy and in no time I will end up breaking it. So in order to save myself the stress, I prefer using the plastic one. So how do you make use of this? You can see that on this cup, you can see some lines and you can see some indication. This here shows that you have 100, all right? So if you need so each mark means 10. So let's say you need, this is the 100, the large one, the large lines is for a whole unit. So let's say this is 100. So if I need 110, I will just count 110, 120, 130, 140, 150. So this is 150 ml. Okay. So if I need 200, I have to go here. So if I need 135, I will just count till I get the units that I want. Do you I mean if I need 150, if I need 140, I just have to count. If I need 240, I just have to count my lines to get what I want. Okay, so how do you make use of this? When you're using this kind of cup, after pouring in your liquid, please do not try to read while you're holding it. I figured it out that whenever I try to read, I don't get the right thing. So you place it down, let every liquid you have balance. Okay, you know this when you're carrying it is shaking. Okay, because it is shaking, you might not get the actual amount. And so just place it down and then you read, placing your read this thing. You have to place it down, and then you read here. So now I can see, let it settle down. I have 250, okay, which is approximately 1 cup of this. 1 cup of this will give you 250 ml. So you cannot read Using this cup, read your unit, using the cup while you have it down, like the way we measure down here with this one, where you can just have it, you just have to fill it down. But you want to read using this kind of cup, you have to place it down, allows the liquid to settle down, okay, before you start reading. When it is done dancing, you see exactly where your unit is, and then you read. Do you understand? If you are carrying it, your hand will be shaking the liquid. So you can see that it is settling down. Can you see? Just wait for it. Now, can you see that? We have our 250 ml. And another thing you should, if you have this kind of cup, there are the glass one are very accurate. But for this one, you have to start reading from this point where the marking starts. So you have to fill water. Let me get a marker to mark the lines. So for this one, you have to fill water to this point. You have to fill water to this point because that is actually where the markings start from. So if you have this type of cup and you've been wondering how to go about it, just fill your water to this point. Then you can now start measuring, okay, to get the accurate what you want. If you are measuring the water from below, you are going to be having excess water because this point is not being read. I don't know how they did this one like that. This one is not being inclusive in the measurement. So fill water to this point and then stop and start taking your actual measurement. That's the only when you can read the measurement that you need. Alright, so I believe I practically talked about everything that needs to be known about taking measurement for your baking or taking measurement before you start kickstarting your baking. So see you in the next one.